recording. What we are going to discuss today is another type of tactic. Last week we discussed the square clearance, right? Where we wanted to get one important square for another piece of our own. So we currently that another piece could not come there, so we had to clear it. So we had to literally clear the way for our another piece. It is like saying that just as sometimes like you offer your chair to some senior, right? Whenever at home somebody elderly comes, and then if you are sitting, then as good manners we will get up and we'll let the elderly person sit, right? Similarly here it is like the more powerful piece, but it is not based on hierarchy, it is not based on particular thing, it is based on the needs of the position. So sometimes even the knight might need a square which is occupied by your rook, in which case the rook, even though being higher powered, still it has to get away and make itself available to the rook, to the knight, or similarly, right? I mean, that is important. That is what we remember. So now there is another type of tactic which we will see, which is called as line clearance. Okay, and line clearance means that it is, what is a line? I mean, you know what is a line, right? Line is a straight line, and it can be horizontal, it can be vertical, or it can be diagonal. And what are the pieces that operate on this? They are either rooks or they are bishops, right? Knights never operate on a line, straight line, but rooks and bishops do operate. Queen also operates, but queen, because it operates on both vertical, horizontal lines and diagonals, there is hardly ever a position that queen will have to divert itself and offer a line clearance to the rook or the bishop. But there can be other pieces. There can be knights, or there can be pawns, or rook can be blocking a bishop, bishop can be blocking a rook. All those kinds of things are possible, but never queen, because queen is a superset, right? So you know that. So but knowing that principle, now what is the principle, or what is the idea behind this tactic is that you have a more powerful, in that particular situation, a more powerful piece is wanting to attack along a straight line, but that straight line currently is not open for that piece. It is closed, and you have to find a way of making that open, right? That is what is the tactic about. It is not about a single square, but it is about an entire line. Okay, so now we will see it. Once we see the example, we will understand. See, look at this position. Okay, look at this position, and you can spot the line that is dominated by the D file. Yeah, D file. White has got a double rook, right? White has got a double rook, and black has got a rooks which are not in the strongest possible position. They are like horizontally, but right now it is covered because there is also a knight. There is also a knight. Right?
White knight to, I guess white knight to E6.
White knight to E6. Let us see what will happen if white knight jumps to E6. Does it look like that? White knight to E6. Black rook on E7 might first take the knight. Na?
Also, no, there's a pawn.
Yeah, there is a pawn also, but there is a rook also. So whichever way you take it, I think it is okay. Pawn can also take it. And yeah, better is pawn takes it, or the rook also takes it. So it is not. So let us see. Let us think about it a little bit. But let us read also. So here making a, I think Vedant is joining. Yeah, another piece occupies it. That is what they have said. So we have, you have already got things about clearing lines when studying discovered attack. Yeah, discovered attack, many times this happens where the where the line gets opened. Okay. Okay, here in this position, what they are saying is it is not that white had a shot, but white was to play. There was no exactly a clear shot. Okay, but white played rook 1 to d5. So white played this, and now it was black to play, and black has got a super move here. Okay, black has got a super move here, which is about line clear.
I know, sir. It will be with the knight at g4. You have to mate with the rook.
Yeah. So if knight comes to g4 now, okay, what you are doing is you are sacrificing one of your rooks, because then white actually, why did white not see this? Is that white was always under the impression if the knight moves, then the rook on d7 will get captured, because white has got a double attack, right? And yeah, even though black king is also there, so it is not exactly that. So I don't know why did maybe he just did not see this, I think. See this. But now what happens is knight to g4. Now the line gets
G4,
open.
Sir, this after G4 you can get a rook to E1.
Yeah, rook to E1, and then the knight is covering the F2 and the H2 squares, right? So that is a powerful what do you call mate threat is there, right? Mate threat is there, because now the line has got cleared for the rook, and the rook on E7 is threatening to go to E1 and checkmate the king. Okay, so that being the case, now what is the alternate for what do you call? What are the options for white now?
So there's only one option, which is king to F1, because if rook comes to D1, then black rook will capture the white rook, and then black rook would be white rook would be forced to capture it.
Correct. Otherwise, he's a rook down. So otherwise,
Yeah.
getting a rook to d1 doesn't help, because black will capture this rook, and now either you capture it back, or if you don't capture it back, then also
You can go to F1.
Yeah, you can. No, you can't go to F1. I mean, you can go to F1, but it is not great. Anyway, you are one rook down.
It's still a mate. King to F1, then rook captures D1.
No, not king to F1. I say rook can go to F1 now, but then you are one rook down, right? One rook down. So that is not big fun. So instead, if king to F1, then then there is no mate. But now black wins the exchange by going to knight to E3, right? Knight to E3. So, and now he is going to win the. In fact, he wins the rook. He wins the rook for his knight. He wins the rook for his.
Now the black can get the white rook.
Yeah, now the black can. So first he will take this. Okay. So he has taken this, and now yeah, you take it. Now it is that there is a very, now even though the knight will take it back, but it is essentially the knight versus rook. So it is exchange up, and this should be very easy for black to win it, but you have to win it with technique. Okay, it is not easy, means it is not like super easy that just 2 moves and you win it, but this is a you have to practice this kind of a things also with the exchange up, how to win. I mean, actually I will cover it maybe sometime, how to use this kind. So if a bishop against a rook and both sides have some pawns, obviously the side with the rook has got a much higher, stronger position, but you have to win it properly. It is not like automatic. It is not winning automatically, but with the technique it is winning. So in this position also, that's what happens. So
The rook D7. Yeah. Now pawn to
A4. A5. Yeah. And then if you go to knight to C6, then actually rook comes down. See, this is a key move.
Then now you can capture the pawn.
Yes. So rook is penetrating to the 7th rank is the key thing in end games, because you can clear up a lot of pawns with this. So this if the rook can come here, yeah, then it should be easy, right?
So you can capture all these pawns, and then you can even queen the pawn.
Correct.
Pawn.
That's the idea. So you got the first introduction to the thing. Now let us look at another example where it is a game. Okay, it is a beginner's game. They're saying one of the players managed to carry out a symbol combination of clearing a line. So let us see this as an example. Okay, it's not a grandmaster game, but it is okay. So E4, D5, ED, Queen D5, NC3. Okay, this is the Scandinavian opening or center counter defense. And good moves here are Queen to A5, Queen to D6, or Queen to D8. These are the 3 moves that are standard here. Queen to A5 is the most popular, but Queen to D6 or Queen to D8 going back is also okay. But here, black plays queen to e6.
Many players this.
Yeah, so many players
Yes,
do
he play
gift check.
like this.
Yeah,
Many players
then
do.
I think you should use it to develop. Okay, you should use this to develop because you are getting a free development and thing. So now black is playing g6 and white is continuing his development, knight f3. Black goes bishop to g7, and now I think white is prematurely doing knight to b5 now. This is like, I think white should simply play d4 here, right? Then he gets a stake in the center and his other bishop gets opened, and now after that it is black will be under good pressure because you are ready to castle and get the rook onto e5. So
Sir, I guess he wants to get this. He wants to capture the rook on c7, thinking he can get the queen.
yeah, that is the threat. But see, remember, this is what happens, I think, in beginner's game. See, I think you can see your threats are okay. You think, but black will be able to defend against that threat, and you are only now you are ignoring your development and moving your knight. Okay, and now because of this, what happens is now queen comes to b6. Okay, so queen has actually come to a good square. On e6, it was badly placed because your rook was going to come on the e file. Now, by making knight to b5, you have made black make a good move with his queen. Okay, now you play d4. Okay, you should have probably played it earlier itself. And then now black gets to develop a good move. It's not exactly a fully developing move, but a6 is a very useful move, because many times the bishop will come to b5 and give the check or pin it. So now a6 is coming with a tempo. So your knight has to go back, right? Now knight has to go back to c3. So see, this is what happens. And now black has got a slight upper hand. Black has already equalized now. Okay, black has already equalized.
Sir,
It's a move.
sir, white is wasting a move. Yeah, white is wasting a move.
Yeah. And then black plays c5. Okay. Black should also develop. Black should also play knight f6 or maybe bishop to f5. No, bishop to f5 is not okay now after g6. But maybe
Both knights are not developed.
developed. Yeah, that's correct. So now white knight jumps up again, because see, if the black knight was on f6, then white knight would not have dared to come to d5. But because the black knight is not there, white knight can jump. So queen again has to move. So now black has also lost time. Okay, black has also lost time. Queen d6. Now d takes c5. Yeah, now I think white gets the now it is black has so much underdeveloped now. Okay, and let us see what happens. White again moves with a tempo. Bishop to e3 develops with a tempo. Right. So black plays queen to a5, and white attacks it once more. And as Agad Mathur will say it, b4 is a very strong move. In whichever side plays it, b4 is important. This is very funny, but yeah, b4 we have on the board, and queen goes back on the d8. See, black queen has been making a lot of moves and wasting moves. So, and now there is a very strong move for white. Bishop to bishop. Yeah.
Even knight f6.
When?
F6.
Not now, right? Now there is no chance because queen is continuously getting attacked. So there is no chance for the thing. So
okay.
So black.
Actually, I was saying before the bishop moves, but I got it.
Yeah.
I was saying about white's move, but I got it. It is wrong.
Yeah, it is wrong. Okay. Fine. So so queen to d6 again. Queen moves.
So why didn't he play queen to d7?
Yeah, he could have played queen to d7 also, but
also he couldn't have been attacked by white there also. We played d7.
See, there are so many ways that white could have attacked, right? I mean, knight to c7 itself is a big threat, right? Which is going to capture the rook, fork and rook. That itself is a threat. Even now it is there, but okay. So now they are saying that white should have probably gone for knight c7, king f8, and then queen takes d6. Exchange the queens, and then your rook is not going anywhere. So you see, you castle. See, this is what is the good move. Because the rook is anyway in the pocket for you. So you might as well develop first and get your queen side rook also. This is what would have been good. but white went for bishop to d7. Now forced black to make a queen to d7. I think here is where white is going wrong. I think. Yeah, knight to e5. Both sides are making weak moves. Now he should have captured. Black should have captured here. Bishop takes e5. Bishop takes e5 and then f6 simply because you are pushing back the thing. And now if you play knight to c7, it is okay. I mean, it is not because your knight is also going to be, it's not going to come out alive because you are going to take this. So knight cannot come to c7. It can come to b6. But if it comes to b6 also.
Queen captures queen.
Yeah, I mean, and queen to c7 here. So this would have been okay. But black, I think black, both sides are, is not a master game. So queen is e6. And now there is a big line clearance tactic. And it is winning now. What is the line that you want?
Knight f4. Knight f4.
Yeah, knight f4. Actually, it is even stronger is knight f6. Why you can?
I think I got f6. F6 is very better.
Yeah, because it is checking the king, right? So there is very little that you can do. So checking is the most powerful move because it forces the thing. Even knight f4, you are attacking the queen and threatening thing, but there may be some ways of whatever is thing. But here, if you play knight to f6,
by whatever he captures queen d8.
Yeah, whatever, no matter what he does now, and then queen to d8 is happening, right? So again, this was towards the end, this became a line clearance in a game, but you got the concept. So we'll continue. I think we'll see a couple of more examples. So this is also a game. I think it is. Diagonal clearance. We wanted to have an example of a diagonal clearance, right? Which is for the bishop. So let us look at this game. d4, f5. Which is this defense? d4, f5. Anyone?
Sicilian.
Sorry? No, this is not Sicilian. Sicilian is e4, c5. Okay, this is d4, f5. So this is, it looks like a mirror image of Sicilian, but that analogy doesn't work always because the king side and the queen side are different. So it is not exactly a English opening is called as a reverse Sicilian because the pawn structure is same. It is queen side pawn. Only thing is that white is playing the black side and black is playing the white side. But this opening is called as Dutch defense. And it's a very interesting opening. Okay, you can play it. Actually, those of you who want to play, who want to learn, not get into too much theory and want to play a simple opening against, I mean, simple as in reasonably simple to understand, and play against d4, right? You can always go for d4, f5. It's an interesting opening to play, Dutch defense. But remember, because you are moving the f pawn, next move you should always bring out your knight. Otherwise, the diagonal becomes weak. So here, white goes for a fianchettoing his king bishop, and knight comes out, which is very important. Otherwise, bishop to g2, e6, knight h3. See, knight goes to h3 here. Why? Because it cannot be captured by the black bishop and like doubling the pawns, etc. Second thing is that by coming to f3, it is blocking his own bishop. So here the knight is, these are some of the rare situations where it is okay to move the knight to the side of the board. Why? Because it is planning to come to f4 next. Next means 1 or 2 moves later, it is planning to come to f4. So that is why it is going to h3, not to stay there permanently. So bishop to e7. Castle, c4, d6. So far, I think it is going okay. Black can play d5 also with a stone wall type of setup. Knight c3, c6, e4, f takes e4, knight takes e4, and now black plays e5. So black has prepared e5. So d e5, d e5. Okay, all right.
Oh, I think, sir,
Hmm?
uh, actually the black bishop is capturing white knight on h3.
Yeah. But right now, white also has got a bishop on g2, so no problem. That way it is okay.
Yes.
Okay. What is the alternative? Okay, you could have done captured like this, and then bishop h3 and queen h5. Okay. This would have been acha. So there was this tactic, interesting tactic. Black could have gone for taking the knight instead of taking the pawn on e5, knight e4. But bishop e4. Now you take the bishop, takes knight on h3, but doesn't mean that you are not winning a piece, because queen comes to
I think
h5,
white is winning.
and no, you can give back. So it's not exactly you have won the piece. Now you have to give it back.
Yes. You have to give
You
it
have to
back.
give it back. So that is the thing. So now at this point you can't play g6 because g6 might be very dangerous. So, but you can play, probably you can give it back by playing bishop to f5. So no, I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe it is not.
So you can put the bishop. You can actually.
No, I think maybe it is time to give maybe give back the exchange. Maybe rook to f5 might be. No, rook to f5 you will lose the bishop also. No, not exactly. I think the
bishop
white has got a
F5.
strong attack. You will have to give it back. I think the bishop, or you will have to sustain the g6. You will have to play g6 and play out the attack. I think. But anyway, this did not happen. So what happened was pawn took pawn on e5, and now knight h to g5. Now white has got a beautiful knights on the king side.
Same I was going to say, sir. Same move.
Yeah. Now black played queen c7. Actually, they are suggesting that black should exchange the queens actually, and what do you call? And then take on or then develop his knight. But by playing queen c7, they're saying is allowing white too much of a strong attack now. Queen c2, very, very nice move, because see, you are eyeing the h7 square now, right? And queen has come out, and white's queen is much more powerful than black's queen. Black's queen is very, very defensive. It is blocked by the e5 square, but of his own pawn. But white has got a knight which can move away and then clear the diagonal. So see, now you can see that the diagonal clearance theme will come, because if the white knight on e4 jumps with a tempo, right, then you can have queen landing on h7 and giving checkmate. Right, that is what is threatening. So threat is knight to f6, rook to f6, queen h7, king f8, queen h8, checkmate. That is the threat, right? So that is the threat, and black decides to take it like this. Better, they are saying that it is better for the bishop to come to f5. Yeah, definitely. I think this is much better, bishop to f5. And then if you take knight f6, then rook takes f6, and you are covering the bishop also, and it is very strong, very good actually. But instead, black took it with the knight, and then white obviously took it with the bishop.
So,
Yeah.
why didn't white take with the queen?
If white takes with the queen, actually the threat is not too much. Okay, the threat is not, black will take away the bishop, knight on g5. Okay, then you will take on g5. After that, there is no threat of the queen on h7. Right, by taking it with the bishop, you say that, oh, you cannot take my knight, because I will first take your pawn on h7, give a check, and then I will take back. So at least I will take an extra pawn, plus your king will be driven out. So that is what is white is saying. And black is saying that, oh, you want to take my pawn, I want to push it and try to drive away your this one. But now, see, now the diagonal clearance comes in.
Yes, sir. d5.
Yeah, bishop to d5 is very strong, because it's a check, and at the same time it clears the diagonal for the queen. Right, bishop to d5. So So this is over. Game is over actually here because you have to deal with the check, and by the time you deal with the check, next move there is a checkmate.
Like this, I have given a checkmate.
Oh, good.
Like some other position was there,
Yeah.
but like this only, I moved my bishop and I was going to give a checkmate.
Okay. Cool. Yep. So now let us look at some middle game positions. Example positions again. This rare case with a line clearance is new. Oh, okay. See that first. Let us see the position only, and it is saying they are saying that this is most of the time you use it for attack, but this is a unique case. They are saying where you are using the line clearance tactic for defense and not for attack.
So means for which white or black?
It is black to play.
Black to play.
Bishop to f2. Okay, bishop to f2, sacrificing the bishop for what purpose? Let us see. Rook takes f2 and queen to d8. Okay, queen to d8. Queen to d8. Now back rank threats are there. Right, back rank threats are there.
So that back rank threats are very less because there's a queen.
Yeah, but you have to always like if you move the
Yeah.
queen, then there is always a threat, right? So you have to be aware. So here, what is the thing is that white is saying that I am going to take away the b pawn, otherwise exchange my c pawn for b pawn and open the line for attack against the king, castle king. But how is this helping? Let us see. If queen f7, then king h8, b takes c3, and then queen to d1 check here. Yeah, this would have been the case if white had not protected it. White had thought that, oh, I don't really care. I don't think there's anything problem. Then this would have happened. But white does not do this. White is careful and first takes this pawn. But if it takes this pawn, then also white gets black gets a counter attack. Now rook to f8. Rook to f8. So if
I think queen captures rook.
Yeah, queen captures rook is what is black is offering, and then queen takes it, and then rook takes it, and then king takes it again, right? And now it's a rook versus bishop.
Yes, white won't actually do that.
It's a rook versus bishop.
Yes.
So king to b2.
So black was already a rook up.
Looks like that, right? I mean, it looked like black was already a rook up.
Yeah.
So one full rook up. So only thing is that there was a danger that was there. This is what you see. Yeah, exactly. Why black was a rook up, but what was the danger in this position? Queen to f7 check followed by queen to f8 would have been a checkmate against black, right?
Yeah, right.
So that is what would have been the thing. And how would you defend it? You cannot get the other rook down to c8 because the bishop is covering it, right? If you play the other rook down to bolster your thing, so that is where I think so that is what they said. So in this position actually black was piece up, but it was under a tremendous mate threat, and you could not play h7 h6 or something like that because the g5 will come to g6, and again it will be a mate threat. So there was a very strong mate threat against the black king, and black defended it. It's not that black is trying to, the first is black is trying to defend against the mate threat. That he defended it by sacrificing the bishop and getting the queen down to the d8 square. D8 square is a safe square. I think that is what happened here, right? Queen to D8. Because now it is defending against the back rank threats very well. But if you don't do this, just imagine, if you don't do this, it's very difficult to protect against the mate threat of white. You can check it. Okay, so now all this thing gets exchanged, and then finally now black is now an exchange up. So now he's going to win it in the end game. He's going to win it in the end game, and with a technique, right? So c4, king to c5. Yeah. See, already black's pawns are well placed. They are on the dark squares mostly, and white has got a light squared bishop. So black's pawns are very nicely placed. Plus, he has got an exchange up. So he should be able to win this. He should be able to win this very.
I think black was a grandmaster.
I guess both of them would have been a thing. Only thing is that now with this white has sacrificed a bishop but got a triple connected not passed pawn, but triple passed pawns, which can become dangerous, but I think not, because the rook is there and the king is also able to come to the rescue. Yeah. So now after this it will be over.
So white takes, then rook goes to h6 if the white.
Yeah, if white takes the pawn, anyway the pawns get disconnected and the rook goes to h6 and it is game over after that. So white will not take the pawn. He will try to bring in his king, but now you can push your own pawns. King goes to c. Now white king has to forcibly diverted away to protect against the black's passed pawn, and now it is. Yep. This is over, right? After this, it is over. Okay. So this was another example. Let us take a quick look, but a very interesting example where you sacrificed a bishop just to clear the diagonal for your queen to go back to defensive square. Let's look at this position. Yeah.
It's black to play or white to play?
This is black to play.
So I think the move is.
Let us just think about it. Which line clearance is involved? I get a feeling that it is the H line clearance. H should be the H file wants to get cleared.
Yes, sir.
I don't know, because the rook is very powerful there, and if the knight lands.
But I guess the knight, but the first move is not knight to g3, any of the knight.
Yeah.
I think so. It even can be.
Knight to g3 directly, then h takes g3 is practically forced because it's a fork, and then you take h takes g3, rook goes to g1.
I think, sir, I think it's a good move. Knight g3, h knight.
H knight to g3. Let us see what they are suggesting is bishop to b5. Right? Bishop to b5. Let us see, because we are just seeing the thing. Bishop to b5, obviously a takes b5, right? And then knight h to g3. Now they are saying h to g3. Knight takes g3 first, then your knight will take it, then h pawn will take it, your pawn will take it. No, not yet. So king goes to g1.
I think so.
Rook h1. This is
Yes,
like
sir.
that
Yes.
where we were seeing, right?
Yes, sir. I think now.
Yes.
I got it, sir.
You will sacrifice the second rook also. Okay.
And sir.
You will sacrifice the second rook on h1 and the bishop on c5, and finally you will get your queen onto h8 square with a tempo with a check. King goes to g1, and then queen will come to h2 and checkmate. Yeah, I think
Pawn is also there on g3.
Yeah, with that only. So you are going to sacrifice see what you are going to do is you are going to now sacrifice the bishop first.
I think this was there in the Wickovic mates.
Yeah, it was. I mean, similar pattern was there. Now it's a force. So you had to get that. Acha, now you understand it, because now queen is able to come to h8 with a tempo, and then deliver a second.
H2. H2.
Right. So which means that the original bishop to b5 was a line clearance for clearing the 8th rank, because this bishop, if he was there on e1, queen would not have been able to go to the h8 square. So this bishop is sacrificing itself just so that after all the other sacrifices, then finally queen is able to go to h8. Right. Very beautiful.
Yes, sir. But this and all are very risky, sir.
Yeah, obviously, right. You have to be able to calculate well, very well.
I think, sir, we have to rejoin.
Yeah, I think let us rejoin. Let us rejoin in 3 minutes. Okay.
Bye.
Yeah. Let's rejoin in 3 minutes.